Imagine living your life after 50 and feeling energized and excited about your future. Welcome to the Women in the Middle podcast, the podcast for women who are ready to figure out what they want and create the life they deserve. Here's your host and master certified life coach, Susie Rosenstein.
Hey there, today's episode is all about style for petite women in midlife. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast Women in the Middle. I'm your host, Susie Rosenstein, your master certified coach and midlife mentor, and I am so glad to be here with you again for this week's episode, which is about creating style and finding clothes when you are under 5'4". So my friend, are you rocking it as a short girl? I myself am 4'10", or at least I was back in the day. Who knows now with, shrinkage and all? I don't really know. Anyway, today is a great little episode, pun intended, with all kinds of style tips, but we're focusing specifically on style for the petite midlife gal. So being shorter than average, it can have its challenges. The reality is that you're a petite midlife gal in a world that says you need to be tall and skinny to look great. Women need to know that they are beautiful no matter what size, shape, or age they are. Your style can be a fun way to help you feel amazing and look your best, whatever that means to you. And that is what we're talking about today. But just quick, I have a question for you. Did you know that I offer some cool free stuff? Well, I do, and you should really check it out. The first thing is my free monthly webinars and workshops. Yes, just about every month I offer these. The topics are things that you're likely interested in if you want to stop wasting valuable time and get on with the good stuff. Just that little issue of regret-proofing your life. As a woman over 50 or 60, you know all too well that life is too short to dilly-dally. It's time to live the life of your dreams and have way more fun doing it. To find out what webinars and workshops are happening, just head over to www.susierosenstein.com and you'll see it right at the top of the homepage. I can't wait to see you in my Zoom square. There's another page on my website you're going to want to check out. It's my free resources. There are links that go directly to some free resources, e-guides, a Facebook group, the Women in the Middle blog, a mini video training to help get unstuck, and a link to media and podcast interviews that I've done over the years, including a recent awesome piece in the digital magazine, The Ethel, from AARP by Jane Boken. It's called 5 Inspiring Podcasts Helping Me Navigate Life After 60. The Women in the Middle podcast is one of the podcasts featured. Such a fun surprise. Again, just head over to www.susierosenstein.com and click on the free resources tab and have some fun. Okay, now let me tell you about my amazing guest. Today's show is about style for petite women in midlife. Being a petite midlife gal in a world that says, you know what, it's really better to be taller. And while you're at it, you should probably also be thinner. But that's really the world we're in, where there's this idea that it's better to be taller. Women need to know that they really are beautiful no matter what. Your style can be a fun way to dial this in. Yes, at your age and your height. My guest today is going to help us do that. Her name is Sandy Okamoto. Sandy helps petite women discover their assets and focus on those features, as well as how to camouflage their challenge areas while having fun creating a style and wardrobe that feels great. Sandy is a style and wardrobe consultant and owner and founder of Style Options. She has over 25 years of experience helping women and men create their signature style. She knows personally how important a comfortable wardrobe can be. She also knows what it feels like to have low self-esteem because she didn't always know how to present her best self. Once Sandy learned how to create her signature style by accentuating her assets and camouflaging her challenge areas, she felt empowered, energetic, confident, and loved who she was. Sandy's mission is to help others find their signature style and love who they are, just like she did. I know you're going to get some great tips and advice from this episode, so please enjoy. Hi, Sandy. Thanks so much for joining us today on the Women in the Middle podcast.
Hi, Susie. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too because we get to talk about our favorite topic,
Yeah.
which is not just what's related to being a petite woman in the world, in midlife especially, but also what are we going to do about our clothes? So all of this together. So if you are a woman who's 5'4" and under, this podcast is specifically for you. If you're just looking to talk about style and how things suit you best, you're also going to get a lot from this episode. But we are specifically catering to the small girls. And, this is a really important thing because I am 4'10", and I know you'll share a little bit more information about you too, but I think I stopped growing when I was 12 or 13, and that was it. I think I was 4'10" and a half for a few years there, maybe a few decades, but I'm certainly not 4'10" and a half anymore.
I know. It's no fair that we shrink as we get older.
We do. So let's start out by talking about how you came to do what it is that you do, that you're so passionate about.
Well, many years ago, when I was in my 30s, I felt very insignificant. I had no self-esteem. I didn't know how to dress at all. And, I just really wanted to look better. And so, I took a color analysis class and became a certified color consultant. And that just opened up a whole new world for me. I was wearing all the wrong colors. If it was fall season, then I was wearing all the browns and tans, which looked terrible on me. So when I found out what my colors were, it was, wow. I mean, I'm a winter, so I wear all the jewel tones and I feel really good in them now. And, so once I took the color class, then I also took a lot of other classes from the best image consultants in the Bay Area about how to dress for your particular body shape. And that, really, really helped me tremendously because I had no idea what looked good on me either. And it gave me such self-esteem that, I wanted to share it with other people. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this, because it really helped me. And I want to help other women find that for themselves too.
Well, the world definitely is not created for women our size. There are so many ways that it's just a little bit more difficult that people don't appreciate everything from the height of your counter, to what you're going to wear. And
so speaking of height of counter, when I had my kitchen remodeled, I had my contractor lower it by like 3 inches.
Wow, I got it lowered by 1 inch and I was pretty pleased with myself. So, and then when you lower the counter, you get to lower the cabinets too, because that has to make sense.
Yes.
I'll tell you, the cabinet height is just ridiculous. I remember one time I was in somebody's house having a meeting and she had a very tall husband and he came in and he was actually looking for something on top of the fridge. Like looking for something on the top of the fridge.
Yeah, I know.
This must have been 30 years ago. And I remember looking and saying, wow, that scene never happens in my house.
I have stools all over the place. I've got to have a stool here, one in my bedroom, one in the bathroom.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah. I love that I don't love that you had a tough time growing up, really feeling insecure and dealing with low self-esteem. But once you figured out how to feel amazing in your clothes, it really changed everything. And, like so many passions, our passions usually do come from something we've experienced. And then you just wanted to share with others. So what happened then? Wanting to share with others is one thing, but becoming an entrepreneur is quite another.
Yeah, well, I'm still learning. Even though I've been in this business a long time, because when I first started, it was not a digital age at all. So now that we have, Zoom and social media, it's a whole new ball game. So, I'm still on the learning curve of all those things too. But, it just made such a difference to me. And I also just want to share a little bit about myself.
Yeah.
I had, an illness. They actually discovered a tumor in my pituitary gland when I was 17. And that is why I didn't grow very tall. And so that, because I'm only 4'7", I'm way below what the Petite say for clothes manufacturers. So I have to hem even the Petite pants. I have to hem.
Well, and you know what, Sandy?
Yeah.
Why do we have to pay the same amount as somebody who's hemming, who doesn't have to hem? Or like we have to hem sometimes 12 inches off of something.
Yes, yes.
And I had to hem a coat. There was a coat that I loved, a winter coat that had down or something in it to make it super warm. Mm-hmm. I had to hem the sleeves several inches, and there was no way around it. And it was so expensive. Like the extra expense of the tailoring and alteration really is something. But yeah, 4'7". Well, I'm 4'10". I mean, I never buy any. I have to hem everything unless it's a shorter pant, like a crop.
Yeah. So the crop pants fit me as a full length pants.
Exactly. Wow. So, so you actually had a health problem that.
Yes, that affected my growth. Yeah.
I just had short family, short parents.
Yeah, that too, mommy being Japanese, my family are not tall either, but they're still taller than me.
Well, my father was 5'6", maybe. Maybe. I don't even think so. And my mother was 4'11". And I remember she was taller than my grandmother. And my husband's mother is 5 foot. So I just wanted my 3 sons to be taller than my husband. He's about 5'4". And that's all I wanted. And they're always looking at me going, Mom, I said, I know if I would have married a taller man, but then you wouldn't be you.
True.
So what are you going to do? The only time I really feel being short is when I'm in a situation where there's a lot of people standing in a reception or something.
Or at a networking group where you're supposed to mingle.
When you're standing, it's terrible.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so it's one time recently there was somebody that was quite tall and I really wanted to talk to her. And we started talking and it was just uncomfortable. And eventually I just said, do you mind if we sit down? Because I really was totally engaged and I literally could not hear her.
Yeah, there's quite, how many inches difference. So it was
a noisy room. Yeah, it was a noisy room. But that's the thing. Like if we're standing, if we're at, like you said, networking, or if there's I remember in a movie theater, sometimes you have to stand before you can go in, or a show, or if you end up at a bar, sometimes there's a networking or a gathering or a reception of some sort at a bar. Those situations I can't stand. And often I'll no pun intended. I end up standing and I don't like it. So I'd much rather sit someplace. But then you're not moving and grooving as much, right? You're not moving around as much.
Yes, you feel like you're not connecting with people as much. Yeah.
So I guess what was it like for you to realize that you probably wouldn't be growing anymore when you were so young? I mean, I think I was 13 or 12 or 13 when I saw it.
Well, I think because of the tumor I had, it wasn't discovered till I was 17, but I had the tumor when I was born, they think. And it was growing and shrinking, but never to the point where it affected my sight or I didn't have headaches. Yeah, it was like what do you call it? A case for, I was at Stanford Hospital. They had residents and interns by the dozens coming to see me because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. Aww. It's just I wasn't growing. And this was the day before we had MRIs or CT scans. So they couldn't do a scan of my head or anything to see. And they finally did a pneumoencephalogram, which they shoot air up into your spine and then they take pictures of your brain. That was the only way they found my tumor.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Now, did you anticipate what it would be like to be an adult with short stature when you were young? Like, were you anticipating being shorter?
Well, I had no choice. I mean, they had some growth hormone at that time, but they were very selective about who they gave it to. And they said because I was female and I was Asian that I probably didn't need it or was one that could be okay being short. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it never really bothered me. In fact, it was a reason I got some attention. And probably like you, I was always the smallest person,
Yes.
always.
Yes. I
And
am too.
yeah, and so I didn't get teased in a negative way. It was kind of like loving and cute, but
Hmm.
it can definitely backfire. And for me, I never did have an insecurity about it. I just had discomfort of the practicality of it, like having to be on stools, not being able to reach anything, not getting clothes that fit. And
Yeah.
certainly it did affect dating. Some people are
Yes.
very uncomfortable dating somebody with such a height difference,
Hmm.
either the short to the tall or the tall to the short.
Right.
So all of those things. But I come from, a shorter family.
Yeah.
So I kind of was used to it. But it's always funny to me when somebody 5'3" thinks they're short.
Oh, I know. To me, that's tall.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about style and what are the things that are important to know if you want to feel comfortable in your clothes and maybe you want to enhance certain things that you just don't know what to do about.
Well, for the petite woman, definitely, you know, longitude is very important because since we do want to appear taller, then anything that's going to create length in you. So any kind of lines, patterns, it should be all be going up and down instead of horizontally. And paying attention to your figure, your assets, and what I call your challenge areas. You know,
Yes.
we all have both of them, but we always seem to focus on the negative, on the challenge
Oh,
areas.
yes. The challenges loom large.
Yeah. But if once you learn how to dress for your assets and camouflage your challenge areas, it makes a huge difference.
Can you
You
give
know,
us an example? So for me, my strength, my asset would be my legs,
hmm
very slim and muscular legs, and I carry more weight in the middle. So I
yes,
think I would
that's
be
me
like
too.
a classic apple. And who doesn't love an apple?
Yeah. Well, so for if your asset, if one of your assets are your legs, then you need to wear shorter skirts. You know, something that's going to expose your legs more. And also, just I know we wear more pants now, but or a capri pants that would expose your legs more. So something that's going to expose it more instead of wearing longer skirts.
Yes, I remember the maxi dress from grade 3. That was quite popular. And I do see everything from the 70s seems to be coming back. But
Yeah.
I do feel more comfortable with that. But to get a skirt that's above my knee, that fits, it always needs to be hemmed. But I do
Right.
like a skirt or a skirt for sure. I feel very comfortable in that.
Yes, me too. Yeah.
I feel like the
So,
skirt is my uniform. I wish I could
really?
wear it all year.
Well, I just bought one recently. I hadn't had a skirt before, but again, I had to hem that too, just by an inch or two because I don't know, because everybody else that's wearing it, it's way above their knee, right? And mine was just right at my knee, so I didn't want it to look too long.
Well, I have them in all different lengths and colors.
Oh,
Honestly, I love them. I find them so comfortable in the summer and they do seem to suit my figure.
okay. Yeah. I'm anxious to start wearing mine too. So paying attention to your figure assets and your challenge areas is very important. Also, cutting yourself in half with color is what I call a no-no because you don't want to, because cutting yourself in half with color is actually shortening you.
So
And
you mean like even when you wear a black pant, you might be drawn to wearing a bright shirt or sweater. You're saying that doesn't help.
no, it doesn't mean that you have to dress in monochromatic all the time. What I'm saying is don't change colors drastically. So like you're wearing black pants, don't wear a white top, so you want to go from like black to gray or something with a black and white print on top would be okay because you're still bringing that eye up with the black in the print from the
Got it.
pants to the top. So you always want to create what I call optical illusions, Yeah.
Now,
So
one thing I see is when also with pants, about the height of the pants. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because when you look at fashion magazines and things, you always see really tall women wearing long pants, like right down to the ground with a high heel.
yes.
And I just can't imagine wearing a high heel for anything. So,
Well, so I recently played around with that because I noticed that the trend right now, one of the trends is the longer pants with the wider leg, right? And I
yeah.
said, there's no way I can wear that. It would make me look very dumpy, but I tried it recently. And so this is my tip to petite women too, is to try things, doesn't hurt to try it. Like go in the store, try it on, see how it looks on you, but also, you could take it home and alter it a little bit. So I did buy some wider leg pants because I normally wear all skinny pants because it makes it creates this V because the shoulders look wider and your bottom looks narrower. But anyway, I did try a wider leg pant and it looks okay. I mean, it looks pretty good. I was really shocked. But you got to remember when the bottom is wider, then the top has to be narrower. So you got to wear something that's going to be a little bit more fitted on top and shorter. So you don't want long and long. You want short on the top and long on the bottom. And also the width of the leg has to be, you can't have it real wide. You can have it like medium to narrow. I mean, not real narrow, but you know what I'm saying. Because of our height. Because the taller ladies can wear the real wide leg, but we have to kind of alter it a little bit for ourselves. And to your point too, the high heel, you've got to wear a heel with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've found Clark's has those wedges.
Yes,
they're like 2 to 3 inches, but they're very comfortable.
I agree.
Very wearable.
I agree. I've also discovered. Yes. Yeah. I'm glad you said that because heels I just can't do anymore. But
no,
those
I can't
wedges,
either.
it's like a combination wedge platform.
Yes, and that gives you the height.
Yeah,
it looks really good with a wide leg pant.
Yeah, that's a great tip. And what about sleeve lengths? Is there anything with that's relevant?
No, I think it just depends on your arms. I mean, some women like to expose their arms and others, as we get older, we get that little flab on the bottom of our arms. So, that's totally up to you. I think sleeveless or short sleeve, long sleeve, of course, in the wintertime. But
in terms of height and style, it's not that relevant.
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay. And what about neckline? Because I have a fuller face and I know that a V-neck is much better for me.
Yes.
So does that have anything to do with style as well?
Yes, because it makes you look taller when you wear something that's going to make your face look slimmer, because I also have a full face and I always wear V-necks or something with a scoop. And also a collar like this on a jacket is very slimming to the face.
I am so glad you mentioned that because I agree. That is a good look for me too. Yes.
And even if you're on a Zoom, I would suggest wearing something with a collar like this because
something a little more structured. Yeah.
It gives you more presence too. And since we are petite, my jacket is my power suit. I feel very not as powerful when I don't wear a jacket. I have like 50 jackets.
Well, okay. So that begs the next question, my friend. Where do you find 50 jackets that fit? Or is it just a matter of 100% commitment to alterations?
Well, the jackets, I wear medium. I'm not tiny on top. So I don't have trouble finding jackets. Maybe the length might be a little long, and that's no problem. And the sleeves, of course, are always long. So I just cuff them. I just fold it back and cuff the sleeves. And that usually works. But, jackets I've collected over the last 20 to 30 years. I mean, I didn't buy them all at once, of course.
Well, and
But
I'm wondering,
yeah.
but what about the shoulder pads? You still have jackets at work from that long ago?
Yeah, well, yeah, the 20 years ago, they weren't in style.
Oh
I'd
my
say
God,
that was
it's
more
more
like
than
30. Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Because I
Like in
remember
the 80s.
when I got my first job, I invested in two suits. One was navy blue, double-breasted,
Mm,
linen, and I loved it so much. And then the
hmm
other one was herringbone, like a
hmm
classic herringbone matching skirt and jacket. And they
hmm
were shoulder padded out big time.
Yes, that was the style back then.
Pantyhose and black patent pumps.
Oh, yeah. Those. Ooh,
I know.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, shoulder pads. I do have these little, very slight shoulder pads that I can add into a top. Like, let's say if it doesn't have much structure. And sometimes I'm very narrow in the shoulders. So sometimes my top will, you know, it won't be straight. So I put a
Mm,
shoulder pad in. It's just a very tiny one though.
right.
And it actually does make the rest of your body look slimmer when you have a shoulder pad in, a slight shoulder pad.
Well, it's so interesting thinking about trying to appear taller and slimmer. Let's talk about that for a second because it reminds me of the conversation around aging, where, when somebody tells you, oh my, you don't look your age, we're pleased. We might be happy. We might be giddy. And then
Mm-hmm.
I'm always like, well, what's wrong with looking my age? Because if I,
Right.
what is wrong with it? Because I'm alive and I'm aging. Thank God. Right?
Right. We should be thankful.
If I'm not aging, I'm dead. Exactly.
Yeah.
So with taller and slimmer, because of course I definitely want to appear slimmer, and I never really thought about appearing taller. I always focused on slimmer, but I guess it's kind of related because it's pulling you up instead of out.
Right.
That's really the message I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
from the intention of finding clothes. And I would imagine many people want to have that look. It's just feels appealing. I guess it's just what we want.
Well, I think society too kind of ingrains it in us that, taller and slimmer is
Better.
where you need to be.
Yeah, it's definitely a message.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
So,
funny when I had a retreat recently in a couple of months ago, and some of the women, we were working together for 1 to 3 years on Zoom, and it was
mm,
the first time we met in person.
mm,
And we had a hoot and a holler realizing how we're all so different heights. Because on Zoom,
uh-huh.
it's the great equalizer. You can't tell.
Right, right. Until you told me that you were petite. I didn't know that because we've been just talking on Zoom and
Hmm.
I would have never known that. Yeah.
Right. It's so funny what we think it means and all the subconscious messaging that we have about what it means to be small or tall and average or not average, because a lot of the conversation around what defines petite has to do with I think the average height and whatever the clothing industry determines.
That's right. Yeah. I think everything seems to be that way. I mean, media tries to tell you that you need to look this certain way in order to look pretty. And I think that's so wrong because everyone is beautiful in their own way. We all need to realize that we don't need to match up to anybody's stereotype of what beautiful is. And I think
Definitely.
more and more women need to know that and believe that.
Yeah. And it's definitely a cultural message that being under 5'4", being classically petite, it's not an asset.
Right. Or they want to say, oh, you look cute, but cute is not what we want to look at our age.
Yeah. I'll
Right?
take cute. Come on, Sandy, you're pretty cute.
No, but I just,
You don't
I,
mean like minimized. We don't want to be
yeah,
minimized. Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll
That's it
take
for sure.
cute. I'll take cute.
I know what you mean. Like you don't want it you don't want to look like a child. You don't want to
Yes,
appear childlike
right.
just
I want
because
to
of
look
our height.
adultish. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
adult-ish. Yeah, ish.
Yeah. Not
So
old, but an adult.
exactly. So
Yeah.
what's going on with the clothing industry around catering to women under 5'4"? Has there been a change? Is it easier to find things?
Well, more and more stores used to have petite departments, which was really nice. I know Macy's still does, but I think some of the styles are very matronly
Hmm.
for petite women. I don't know if they think that petite women are all older women, but it really needs a revamp. It needs to be more modern and updated, trendy. I mean, not trendy, but with the styles that are current. And
Yeah.
and that's what I'm finding the petite departments are now. I don't really like the petite departments. I don't really shop there.
Well, I was just going to ask you about that because certainly the what's it called? The proportion is better in a petite
Yes.
department, but the options aren't great.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a store in Canada that I shopped petite for the longest time. They still have it, but now the stores are hard to find. And I just don't like, this is one thing that petite women, I find it's harder to shop online because it's just, you don't know if that regular size is going to fit or if it's going to be way off and require tailoring. Is this the type of thing that
Yeah.
I can fold the cuff, or is this going to need a trip to the tailor? It really adds up.
Yeah, it does. Well, I do all my own hemming
Oh,
on my pants. Yeah. I have a sewing machine, and because I used to sew before there were petite pants, I used to sew all my pants. Yeah. So I can at least hem my pants. When it comes to sleeves or anything more complicated, I do have it altered by someone, but yeah, just plain pants, I do, because if I had to take all my pants to a tailor it'd cost me a fortune.
it is a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah.
So I know you're so passionate about this topic. And what have you observed from helping other women find a style that they feel amazing about? What's that been like?
Well, I think, like I said earlier, a lot of women don't believe that they're pretty, that they're beautiful, and they're trying to live up to someone else's expectation. And they need to just find what works for them and believe that they are beautiful. And that's where I come in and I help them realize, that, hey, these clothes look great on you. People are so critical of themselves. We're our own worst critic, like they say. And women need to learn how to love themselves and really accept themselves for who they are. So, I'm not trying to change anyone by saying they have to dress a certain way. I really work with the client to help them figure out what works for them. What do they feel comfortable in? And what makes them feel beautiful, you know?
And what
So,
about recommending, are there some places to shop or some tips about how to search for places that cater more to petite women?
um, well, you can look online, of course, but I personally like Chico's. They do have petites, and I go online and look for stuff because there's more selection there rather than going in the store. And I do shop at Macy's in their petite section. But I'm all over. I do shop on QVC and HSN. They have great,
They have petites?
yes, they do. They usually
Oh,
have petites and regular lengths because they sell to such a huge audience. They can afford to offer things in petite and regular and even tall sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. Just ask me about QVC and HSN. I know a lot of good designers on there that I've gotten a lot of great clothes from. In
I
fact, the
wouldn't,
jacket I'm wearing right now is from HSN.
I wouldn't have even thought to shop there. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what about any other things like coats I find really challenging, winter coats. because we're just swamped in a very large coat.
There used to be a place in San Francisco called the Short Story. Oh, I love that store. It was coats just for petite women, 5'4" and under.
Wow.
And I have a couple of their coats. Yeah. But they went out of business a long time ago. But most of the major department stores like Nordstrom and Macy's, they do have petite coats too. So, but if you do find one, that's too long in the sleeves, I would definitely have it altered. I would not try to roll up the sleeves on a overcoat type of thing.
Yeah, no, it definitely needed an alteration. And like I said, it was very expensive, but, and I have to say, when I wear the coat, I know on a average height person, it would be more like a driving coat, like it would be past the bum. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's like way down around my knees. And because I use it for walking the dog in the dead of winter, it's okay. But it's very hard to reach the zipper way down there. Oh. Short girl problems. Those are right. Short girl problems. Yeah. So what's your best advice to midlife women who are wanting to, finally figure this out and have some pieces that they can rely on, classic, casual, whatever?
Well, I think they should know what their colors are, what colors look the best on them, and be real truthful about what styles are their best too, and keep those in mind when they go shopping, because it's going to make everything coordinate together in their closet easier. And like I said earlier, experiment. Do some experimenting. If you think a style isn't going to look good on you, you never know until you try it on. And trying on is free. You don't have to purchase it. And even if you purchase it, so many stores have great return policies that you could take it home and wear it around the house and ask people's opinion and see how it looks for a while and then return it if it's not something that you're crazy about.
Yeah. And I also just really like the idea of if this has been bugging you, if you feel that, you just haven't been able to figure out what looks best or what your colors are, or if it's worth it to invest in something that is specifically, it might be a little bit more money, but it's specifically for somebody your size. I think it's such an act of self-care to pay attention to that it might be the perfect time for you to make an investment in yourself like this, if it's important to you. If it's important to you to know that you feel really comfortable in this and you look really good and that this makes a lot of sense from somebody with your figure and your stature, it may make a lot of sense to take care of yourself this way and stop having it on your list of someday. I'll figure that out someday. Exactly. But attack it like a project that you attack everything else. When you've got serious projects, if it's something you really want to do, you get it done.
Yes.
And this could be like that too.
Make yourself a priority. Don't put yourself last on the list. That's what I mean by self-love. You are important and you need to feel good about yourself. And if that item is going to make you feel good and make you feel confident, then it's priceless, Oh
my gosh, Sandy, I'm thinking right now that you said, if it's going to make you feel good. I remember I had a jacket that I thought I was the cat's meow in this jacket. It was navy blue and it had white piping. Mm-hmm. And it was a jacket, like a casual, but a structured jacket. It may have been, I think it was double breasted as well, but I felt like $1,000,000. I would wear like a white top and white pants with it. And it was a classic spring summer jacket. And I love wearing navy blue. And I remember I must have been feeling the confidence as I was walking in the subway. Oh. And the subway ticket taker said to me, this was before electronic, beep, before that, the subway guy said, "You're looking good today." And I said, "Thank you." Like, it wasn't gross. It was just like, I must have been exuding confidence And I
Yes.
don't have a lot of memories about clothing. I have a few, but that one stands out. I remember exactly where I was, and I was walking, with my head held high, feeling
Hmm.
really, really great in what I was wearing. I don't know if that was petite or not, but it really did create a memory. I felt amazing, very strong wearing that jacket.
That's a great example of, when you feel good, you exude it, and other people react to you positively when you feel good because you were feeling very confident and very comfortable in what you were wearing.
Yeah.
And that's when you get the most compliments and people react to you, you
Yeah,
know?
that was
Yeah.
fun. What's your favorite outfit?
Oh, I've got so many. Well, this jacket that I'm wearing is one of mine.
So
And
it's pink with black leopard print, and it's
yes,
stunning.
yes. And I like it because of the color. It's bright. Because I noticed that, here I am a color consultant and I look at my closet sometimes, it's like black and gray and white, So
Yeah.
I really need to make a conscious effort sometimes to add bright colors because I do love bright colors too,
I'm the
but
same. If left to my own devices, my practical size says it always says, well, just buy something black because it goes with everything.
everything,
And then
yeah.
I look and it's all I have. And whenever I go to California, I feel particularly self-conscious about it
Hmm.
because I don't find a lot of people wearing black in hot places.
Mm.
Not the same as what I've noticed, but in the Toronto area, I just had tons of black. So I am trying to add more color, and color looks great with black if you're not cutting
Yes,
yourself in half, says
yes.
Sandy.
Well, no, but if you're wearing a bright color and you put it with black, that's okay because they're both the same intensity. But
Ah,
let's say you wore a pastel with black, then you're changing it's a big contrast. Do you know what I'm saying?
that makes a lot of sense. I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah. So if you have a bright top on and then black pants, that's fine. But then it's when you do a light colored top, and black pants, that's cutting you in half.
Tell me about another one of your outfits that you felt like $1,000,000 in. What was
Well, I do have another,
I
yeah,
had a
it was
feeling.
like a raincoat.
Hmm.
It's from Joan Rivers on QVC, and it's purple, which is my favorite color,
Oh.
and it's got black animal print on it.
Oh, so you really like the animal prints.
Yeah, yeah. Animal print has become a staple, It's been around for so many years now. I don't think it's ever going away.
Well,
You
and
know,
from what I read, tell me if this is true, that if a print is smaller, it's better for smaller people. If the print is really large, it's not as great. Is that true?
it depends on your personality, I think, a lot of it. But a rule of thumb I like to go by is the print shouldn't be bigger than the palm of your hand
Ah, okay.
for a petite woman.
Mm,
And then also, if you just wear it in a top, so let's say it's a big print, but you're just wearing it in a top, not like a dress or a jumpsuit or something, then you can get away with it more
I
if it's
see.
bigger print. Yeah.
And I love that you mentioned Joan Rivers. I miss her. I was
I do
such a
too.
fan. Yeah.
Yeah, she
Oh,
she had a great line of clothing on QVC.
wow.
I have a lot of her watches too. She sold watches
Oh
and
my goodness. I'm gonna have to check that out.
yeah. And I've got several of her jackets too.
Well, it's good when you find a designer and then you can trust the sizing. It's much better.
Yes, yes, once you find a designer. And there's also a lady on HSN by the name of Diane Gilman. She used to design jeans for rock stars back in the 60s. And she has great jeans on there. In fact, this jacket I'm wearing is one of her jackets. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I've
Great
had this for
tips.
like 10 years, this jacket. This is so old, but
It's an oldie but goodie. That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, Sandy, how can people get a hold of you if they want to know more?
They can get me on my website. It's styleoptions.now.site. And I'm also on LinkedIn and Facebook and at Sandy Okamoto. And, I offer a free half-hour consultation if you want to talk to me about style. And, I'm happy to talk to you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And of course, I'll have all of Sandy's links on the show notes on my website. Sandy, thanks so much for sharing all of this great style advice, especially for petite women. And petite women want to look great too. And being a fellow petite woman, it was really just fun to talk about it. I don't know that I've had this conversation with anybody ever, actually, not just on the podcast, but I don't know anybody else that has these problems that I struggle with finding clothes.
Yes. Thank you, Susie. I enjoyed it very much.
Okay, that's it for this episode. So much fun, right? As a petite woman myself, I know I'll be using some of these tips right away. I love how Sandy clarified the point about wearing monochromatic clothes to look taller. I've been doing that for years, and I remember hearing about it decades ago. I feel free now to switch things up a little bit, but not too much, because I will for sure be careful not to cut myself in half, visually that is. Improving your wardrobe and style can be thought of as an act of self-care. You can totally become a woman who's focusing more and more on taking exceptional care of herself and also on being more comfortable in her own skin, even with alterations. But seriously, it's all about being more intentional about your life in general and making sure that you're living your life according to your priorities and focusing on what you want. What you want counts. I definitely need to do a bit of an upgrade in the style department myself. Working from home makes it a little too easy to live in yoga pants, if you know what I mean. Anyway, the bottom line is that if you don't make an effort to be intentional about whatever it is, including your style, you may just have regrets. This is exactly how I can help you. It starts with your thinking. Do you think you deserve an upgrade? Do you think you deserve the kind of support you want to live the life that you want? Do you think you deserve to make these changes, whatever they are? And this is what we're up to in my Women in the Middle Academy. So if you're ready to become a woman who's more intentional like this, and you'd like to see if working together is a good fit for you, head on over to www.talktosusie.com and book your free momentum call. This is the way to learn more about how the Academy can help you go from wasting valuable time and feeling stuck to having more fun and feeling fulfilled using creative tools, mindset coaching, joyful planning, accountability, mindful doodling, all kinds of stuff in an amazing community of like-minded women. If you're ready to make changes that are important to you, the Academy just might be perfect, a perfect fit. Now, as you know, my focus as your midlife coach is to help you waste less time spinning like this and feeling stuck. This is what regret-proofing your life is all about. Remember, being the queen of your brain domain is the best way to be, and midlife transformation coaching is the fastest way to rediscover joy and purpose after 50. So if you'd like to see if working together is a good fit for you, either in the Academy or privately, just click on over and grab your appointment in my calendar. Head over to www.talktosusie.com and you can book it there. For show notes and links, go to www.susierosenstein.com and click on the podcast tab and look for episode 412. You'll also see a link there for my other show, The Women in the Middle Entrepreneurs, which is all about the reality of running your business when you're a midlife gal. It's also on iTunes, Spotify, and all the places. Let's do this, ladies. It's time for you to put yourself first, one thought at a time. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next week.